Hello, welcome to the corner of 29th and Girard in the Brewerytown neighborhood of Philly. So why am I here? There's just a bunch of buses here, right? Except what are those? Are those streetcar tracks with streetcar wires? Yes, it is Route 15, Philly's last true street running trolley line, and the only one of the 1992 suspended ones to come back, and it uses PCCs from the 1940s. It's just great. So, here's some history, and I'll see you getting on board. Welcome to, let's just be honest, welcome to unbridled and just amazing PCC foaming.
The history of the Girard Avenue Trolley dates back to 1859, when the Richmond and Schuylkill River Passenger Railway was chartered. This line, which was planned to be a horsecar line, was part of the flurry of horsecar lines that started in Philadelphia in the late 1850s and early 1860s. The planned route was similar to today's route, albeit only running from the river to what is now Fishtown. This line never managed to start construction and went bankrupt a couple years later. However, in June of 1864, it was sold to the Germantown Passenger Railway, the operators of what would become today's 23 route, and renamed to the Fairmount Park and Delaware River Passenger Railway. Construction soon began, and the line opened from Fairmount Park to 11th Street in February of 1866. Further extensions brought the line east to Palmer Street later in 1866 and to Norris Street in 1875. In 1881, the line was leased by the People's Passenger Railway with plans to extend west of the Schuylkill River. In June of 1896, coinciding with electrification, construction began on a westward extension to 60th Street, which opened in 1900. By this time, the line was under the control of the Union Traction Company, who owned most of the street railways in Philly. In 1903, the line was extended further west to its present terminus at 63rd Street and rerouted to its current eastern terminus at Richmond and Westmoreland. The line thrived throughout the first half of the 20th century, becoming an important crosstown link in Philadelphia. In 1948, PCC streetcars were introduced on the line on weekends only, and in 1955, the line became solely PCCs. Despite the tide turning against transit across the country around this time, SEPTA kept this line and other surface trolleys running throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s. In September of 1992, however, due to a funding crisis, SEPTA cut trolley service on this line, now called Route 15, Route 23, and Route 56, replacing all three with buses. While this was theoretically a temporary suspension, the tide was very much against trolley service. However, briefly in the late 1990s, trolley service actually resumed on the Girard Ave line, using Kawasaki K cars from the Route 10, which had been temporarily suspended due to roadwork. However, once this temporary service ended, it seemed like trolleys would be gone forever from Route 15. That is, until 2003, when SEPTA began renovating their 1940s-era PCCs and readying the line for renewed trolley service. In September of 2005, the 15 came back from the dead, becoming a trolley once more. However, by 2020, roadwork in Port Richmond, track decay, and the need for a second PCC renovation forced the line to be closed for 4 years. However, unlike last time, this was actually a temporary closure, and in June of 2024, the 15 third trolley era came back, still running the iconic green and cream PCCs. Now, before we go explore the line, a quick current event and call to action. This video is coming out in April of 2025, and SEPTA is currently facing a budget shortfall, which would require them to cut more than half of all services, including this trolley. So, if you live in Pennsylvania, please call the governor, your state senator, and your state rep, and tell them to fund SEPTA. You won't regret it. Alright, now let's go explore the line.
Hello, so a little bit of history about Route 15. Why is it cool? What is its story? So prior to 1992, in addition to the current suburban trolleys out of 69th Street and city trolleys that use the tunnel, SEPTA had about 3 or 4 just truly street-running surface trolleys. 23, the 15, the 56. I think they're quite a few. All of these were suspended in 1992, quote unquote, temporarily. However, the SEPTA, everyone thought these were long gone. The infrastructure is still mostly there. However, the only place that trolleys have come back is the 15, and they use PCCs. from the 40s. They've been restored twice, and in fact, the streetcar service was suspended for like 4 years while they were being restored. But they're now PCC 3s, and yet they are only going to be here for the next like 2 or 3 years until they're replaced with Alstom LRT things. So yeah, very cool. As for the route, it runs from 63rd and Girard in West Philly to either Frankfort, Delaware, or Richmond, Westmoreland. And only Richmond, Westmoreland trips are trolleys. However, not all Richmond, Westmoreland trips are, because, there are only eight trolleys, and there are a lot more than 8 Richmond, Westmoreland trips. They usually have 2 to 3 out. Today they have 4, which is crazy. But yeah, I saw one pass already, and hopefully it should be ours heading out towards Richmond, Westmoreland should be coming soon. So yeah, I'm just taking from here to Girard in front to the L, but I mean, it's only a short ride, but it's a PCC. When you can ride a PCC, you'll ride a PCC. Alrighty, let's get on board. It's a PCC. It's like absolutely packed to the gills. Since a lot of people got night off, I'm going to try and sneak to the back. Excuse me, sorry. There's also a wheelchair lift, which probably takes 27 billion years to use, but again, PCC, best vehicle ever. We are towards the back. It's just, they're great. And the top window too. It's the vibes are just spot on.
All right, so while I was on the trolley, there were some people who were mocking me and laughing at me for filming, making the diegetic audio in this clip much less than ideal, so voiceover time. Anyway, the street that we're going down now is called 26th Street, and you may notice it's a very small residential one-way street, so why is a trolley going down it? Well, despite Sept being famous for using these tiny, narrow, one-way residential streets for their routes, in this case, they don't really have a choice. Girard Ave curves around this massive complex called Girard College, and hence eastbound trolleys have to use 26th Street, but still, PCC down a one-way narrow residential street is just the coolest thing ever. Alright, here are the time-lapse, and then I'll see you after Broad Street, where the people who were mocking me got off.
Alright, do what Broad Street, where the Broad Street line is, and oh my gosh, again, this is why, having such inflexible vehicles on a cross-town route might not be great, although center running tracks. Granted, they're not at all dedicated lanes, like cars do drive in them, but SEPTA seems to just like be averse even to the idea of light rail, which is mildly funny because the 101 and 102, and if you want to count the northbound high speed, like those are all light rail-esque things, and yet they won't improve the things actually in the city of Philly. Is that an Orion 2 bus?
That indeed was an Orion 2 bus. I have no idea why there wasn't a random Orion 2 parked on Girard and 11th, but if there are any Philly bus faux members watching, let me know in the comments.
This is the red viaduct, or the SEPTA mainline viaduct. So yeah, it's a newer build Also, I'm not sure if it actually is that maybe cars aren't supposed to be in here, although that sign in the station, which you cannot see at all, would actually kind of imply a device. And cars can still, of course, turn across. And there's the Silverliner 5. Yay. Foaming a train from another train. Wow, it's foamer is that a great thing. About the rear cord windows you can film. Those are the little platform shelters that SEPTA installed on the center section. They're not they're essentially just pieces of concrete, so you don't get run over by a car while you're waiting for this. There's also a 15 bus right behind our 15 PCC. So yeah, not doing great in the not bunching front, but just an epic ride. I mean, again, and here's another one. It's just concrete. A route can be as awful as ever, and if it runs PCCs, I will forgive it because PCCs are the best. Yeah. Frankly, I'm sad. I can't ride more, but I have to get up front to go ride the L to go do more stuff. But yeah, very cool. Also, I feel like this would be. I mean, I know that this is foam or heresy, but I feel like this would kind of be a better place to put trolley buses instead of PCCs, because I mean those can they don't have to stay on rails. However, after the whole debacle of this being 12 minutes late, it's been quite fast since then. But yeah, also they're more accessible than these because this is probably really annoying to use. I think that I'm at the next stop, and this is the start of Midtown Ave apparently. Alrighty, let's do a little interior tour as I walk up to the front. Basically, it's two seating except for the one single seat and the 3 seats at the end. There are these single seats here. There's the front seats next, right? Thank you. Sorry, I pulled the cord for the wrong stop. Yep. All right. So there's the top windows, which I just love. And yeah, I'm going to get some pictures of this. I'll see you as we get off stage. Also, I love the little old font there. It's just great. It's amazing. Quite a lot of people waiting here at the L. Thank you. Alright, Andy, so as you enjoyed this foam shot of the L, a couple final thoughts on Route 15. While the route itself clearly leaves quite a lot to be desired as a route, it is so amazing that it still runs these wonderful vintage PCCs. I do think SEPTA should really consider upgrading this line with things like dedicated lanes and TSP, but that won't happen unless they're funded. So again, if you live in PA, please call your state legislators and tell them to fund SEPTA. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.